I'm gonna leave this one for the
Yeah, I
conversation.
was gonna say, yeah.
All right, yeah.
Do some research. Yep. I will stop looking so that I am surprised.
I just, hmm, I just found some fucking garbage.
Was it this movie? Welcome to Gruff Cuts. I'm your host, The Grinch, and this is my co-host, The Grunch. We talk about good boys and bad movies. That's right, bad dog movies. And we watched The 12 Dogs of Christmas.
Dogs, they're coming. They're coming your way. They'll be here soon.
I became mayor on a promise to restore the law banning dogs, a law that has made Doverville famous.
Dogs are not allowed in school.
You believe in miracles? No.
All right, so I guess that's our we hate Christmas and also cats because you can't like a dog and like a cat. Fuck. You have to choose. You must, if you like cats, you get a dog murdering machete, and if you like dogs, then you get a cat murdering saw. I don't know.
Not many people talk about the cat fascists of the 30s.
No, yeah, the movement. I remember that.
Yeah, they really should. It's an important part of American history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, well, they don't teach about a lot of injustices in small town America from the 1930s.
No, they don't.
But thankfully, this film was around so that they could have a small child sit down and tell us about the worst injustice where there was a minority of people that were oppressed by the ruling class of white and middle America in 1930s. Dog lovers.
Dog owners and dog lovers.
Yeah.
No, the cat fascists were just out there attacking dog owners willy-nilly, which is the 1930s term for aggressive abuse. With a stick, I think, is what they used, because they didn't have, modern technology.
Oh, God, no, they couldn't work steel yet. No.
Fuck. Okay, so, alright, we watched the 12
We should probably talk about this film and mention that this is why we're saying this, because oh my fucking God.
We watched the 12 Dogs of Christmas, which is technically Christmas related, I guess. Kind of.
The movie technically remembered it by the end, yes. By the end, it kind of remembered that during the chapters of the book that it is based on, it had a countdown clock, Watchmen style, that was to Christmas to remind you, whoa, wait, we are getting there. Yes, this is just marketing, but we are going to there will be a Christmas, we promise. Somewhere in here is a Christmas. Christmas matters. I guess. Maybe.
I guess. Maybe. Kind of.
Not really.
Not really. Yeah.
Not at all. Some might say that it didn't matter at all if it was Christmas or the middle of summer or if it was any time of year, really.
Anytime. This is more about dog resistance fires against cat fascists than anything, really. If you think about it a little too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we thought about it for 2.5 hours because Freevee TV has so many goddamn ads to watch their movies.
There's 4 minutes of ads every 10 minutes of movie, I'm pretty sure.
It made this movie like 40 minutes longer. Yeah.
Yeah. So, this is a film by Vision Films. We have watched a Vision Films movie before. I looked.
Oh.
What film in our extensive history would you think would be made by patriotic, Christmassy, white America?
I have one that I'm thinking of, but let me just... Okay, so here's the thing. Are you saying that because it's a trick and in fact it's going to be something horrible? Or is it actually going to be the one where they picked up the tiny little American flag from off the floor.
It's that one.
It is that one. I was right. Holy shit. Yes. Okay.
It's
what was
Sky
that movie called
Dog.
again? I'm looking for Sky Dogs. Yes.
Dog.
Sky Dog. I was looking in their.
This is the production company that made Sky Dog.
Oh no!
Which was
where the domestic
awful.
terrorists came in and assaulted the poor airline person, and then she got her hope back when she looked at the floor and her little pencil cup holder American flag had fallen over, and to triumphant music she slowly picked it up and was like,
no, that's
saluting.
them. That's them. Yeah, they also made Endgame.
Oh boy.
Endgame technology. It's different. It has Dr. Doom on the cover as a Terminator. I also found out in my research that they came out with a new Christmas movie this year. You will literally never believe what they made. It's Catfish Christmas.
Oh, no. Is that a... Okay, is it about what that sounds like it's about? Because this movie wasn't about what it sounded like it was about, so I don't know if that one is.
A sister sets up her sister on an online date.
Okay, yep, alright.
Unexpected turn when he turns out not to be a prince because he catfished. He's actually her childhood friend, and she's really cool with catfishing because it's Christmas.
Catfishmas. We might have to watch Fishmas. We could go for some Fishmas.
Holy, the list of movies they've made it's amazing. They made
Stark, Dyer.
They made a movie starring Snoop Dogg called Blood Pageant.
Okay, let's just. That does technically have a dog in it, though. So I mean, we could. That does count.
Anyway, that isn't this movie. Is the point? Oh man, this production company's great. So
yeah, great. Well,
okay. I do have to point out, just because the production company sucks, the director actually did a decent job on this film. In both, not in writing. The director's not the writer, so no, I can say the director did a good job.
I agree. I'm rolling my eyes because I had to suffer through this, but also I know what you're saying, and you are 100% correct.
With the work presented to them,
yes,
the amount of effort put into this film is way higher than anything this production company should ever make.
It is Herculean how well this movie is made for what it is. Like, the source material, I mean, I don't know. I haven't read the book it's based on, so I don't know. Is the screenwriter the same as the book writer?
Does the book also have 20 minutes of a musical at the end with kids? Maybe.
God. Maybe. It seems like no. It seems like no, because Cragen's the producer, and
they probably just
she did a book, The 12 Dogs of Christmas. It's her book. Okay, yeah, it's her book.
Fair enough. Okay, then.
So the book, the writer in the book, and all of the script writing and stuff sucks my fucking nuts.
Yes, but the director, the sets, like the props,
the shots.
The shots. I'm impressed with the, and that's not the director that necessarily took the shots. That's also like the key grips, the people that handled the cameras. Like
absolutely,
that all of that is quality.
all of that kind of stuff. Like I would have to throw it out there that as far as like low budget films that we watch, because I mean this can't have a high budget.
This was $2 million in 2005. Which is not a huge budget, but
no, but you can see where they spent the money. I'm just saying, but we've seen a lot of movies that are $2 million, right? Like, or around that range, like $5 million. Like, this is one of, if not like, this feels like it might be the best shot and produced, like as far as like sets and costumes and stuff goes, of pretty much any film that we've seen on this podcast. Like, it's way up there. It's way up there. Like, there are a few that are good. Like, for example, I mean, like, Yatterman is just obviously way beyond fantastic. That. But, like, that's
Takashi Miike. You can't... Yeah,
that's Takashi. Yeah. Like, Takashi Miike is a different league, obviously. But at the same time, it's got to be in the top 5, top 10 kind of thing. Like, it's up there. It's really well shot.
For something that feels like a made-for-TV movie.
Is it not?
Which it would have been an 05, right? Like, this would have been a made-for-streaming movie nowadays.
Yeah. I feel like it was a made-for-TV movie. I think it was a TV
movie. It feels like that, but the production quality feels higher somehow.
Way higher. Way higher.
Like, it's not what I would expect from that type of film. So
no, and honestly, like, I will say that the writer is apparently a cinematographer, so maybe she did some of the cinematography. So I guess that maybe she should stick to that.
Wrote the scenes with cinematography really in mind is relevant, right? Like,
maybe. Yeah. I mean, it again, all of that kind of stuff looks really good because this movie, which we didn't realize at first, or at least I didn't realize, is set in the 1930s, 1931 in particular.
1931 America.
Yeah. In Maine, and it's like really everybody's wearing as close as they can period appropriate gear. They have the right cars for it. Like, they've all got these classic cars and tractors, and like they shoot it in really old houses.
Hair dryers, like
in the background of stuff. Yeah, like you were saying, like the one lady is a hairdresser and she has a hairdryer that very obviously is from that time. Like, it's all really, that stuff is really, really well done. And it's not just that the sets are really good and there's lots of little details like that. There's shots, like you were saying, the dog catcher goes to get her out of a bunch of, like, the corrugated steel.
Like some tubes.
Steel tubes. And, like, that's a really cool shot. Like, the lighting is really good. Like, the shots are really well composed. Like, all of that stuff looks really, really good. Like, it's really well shot.
You don't see any microphones in the background of scenes.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, but way beyond that even.
Nobody left their cell phone out on a table, like...
But even beyond that, like, there's a lot of modern movies that I see that don't necessarily look as well lit and stuff as this was. Like, this was really well shot and really well lit.
Now that's
also boring as fuck and garbage. It's also garbage. It's also the worst fucking turd. It sucks.
We had to
now that we're done sucking that off, the rest of it is fucking garbage. Throw it away. Burn it down.
We chose this movie because there's 3 Rotten Tomatoes reviews. One of them is this is the best family film I've ever seen, which is an obvious plant. And the other 2 were half stars, one of which said this is the most cringeworthy thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's an hour and 25 minutes of straight cringe is what they said.
And it's an hour and 47 minutes in length, so they
So
lied.
Apparently there's 22 minutes somewhere in there
that aren't cringe.
Is what I assumed.
Yeah, and like... And then we watched it. What was the other person? Somebody said something like, there was one person in a high top in 3 seconds, like one kid in a high top for 3 seconds in this movie,
and it
ruined
killed
the whole goddamn thing.
Which I never even noticed.
I never even saw that, and nothing was like super cringe in this movie. There was one like the musical at the end was pretty cringe, but that's just kids singing.
Yeah, there's a few things. There's a few things, but like we're talking pretty minimal.
So I'm starting to think people on the internet use hyperbole. They might lie. Yeah, I'm starting to think that. I
feel like every review for this movie is inaccurate. Is what I'm
Maybe they're all planted. Like the review that said it was good wasn't working, so they went the other way.
The other way and said like it's cringe as fuck. Yeah, no, they did work. God damn it.
God damn it.
Because you read those 2 reviews, and that's why we watched this fucking movie.
People just go on the internet and lie? What? Since when?
Despicable.
Anyways, back to the 1930s cat fascists versus dog.
Oh God.
So there's a girl from Pittsburgh and her dad.
This shithole armpit fucking garbage city full of dung and losers.
I can't
Pittsburgh.
believe you specifically hate Pittsburgh and said so while we were watching. While me,
I am editing this,
intellectual.
so I am editing this. You can't do this. I'm just letting you know you're not getting away with that.
Pittsburgh is a fine city. Anyway.
The Greater fucking hates Pittsburgh, huh?
I mean...
Okay, let's see that.
It is Pittsburgh.
All right,
from
so
Pittsburgh.
the stinking fucking hole that is Pittsburgh, she crawls out of it.
With a Philly cheesesteak in hand. And Gritty, who was also there in the 30s behind her. She...
Covered in literal human shit, like all Pittsburghians are.
Because Gritty's a cryptid. Who's always living. Always there. Always watching.
Okay.
And...
Let's get going.
Her father's dead. No, her mother's dead. Her
mother's dead. Yes. Yeah.
It's a single father. And he's crying because they're about to get evicted from their Pittsburgh house. So he gives her a letter and some money and sends her on her way to her Aunt Clarence's place in Maine, I guess.
Aunt Dolores.
Aunt
Dolores. Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was. And she shows up and she's like, hey, my dad sent a letter. How's it going, Auntie? And she's at her hairdressing job with her lesbian wife, who's also there.
Who's got her very lovely chihuahua.
Yeah. And she's like, Aunt, who the fuck is Aunt? What the fuck are you talking about? I'm not buying whatever you're selling, kid.
Well, it's wilder than that. It's just a minute. I want to correct a little bit of this because I wrote this down because it fucked me up so bad. And she goes in there and she goes, hi, Aunt Dolores. And she goes, yes, come in, and starts talking to the kid. And then the kid goes, well, like, you're my Aunt Dolores, right? And she goes, I'm nobody's aunt. And you're like, wait, but you... And I'm like, I'm not buying whatever you're selling. Like, stop trying to solicit things for me. And it's like, no, but she said Aunt Dolores, and you said, yeah. What do you think aunt means? What? Like, the fuck is wrong with you, lady?
And
why would you let this child in after being
I think
called
the problem with this in the writing is that we, the audience, have no context for this. And we find out later that the dad just sent her here. And that this Dolores isn't her aunt, and she has no idea who the fuck this kid is.
Yeah, she's the dad's old fuck friend.
She's a fling. That's it.
That's a nicer way of saying it, sure.
Yeah.
Coffee. She's their old
She's a coffee enthusiast.
She's the old barista, yes.
Yeah.
She's his old barista.
And
we'll get to that.
That's... But we need that context, because we were very confused.
It's weird. Yeah.
Anyways, in this town, dogs are illegal, because the mayor who just got voted in has made dogs illegal.
But he's only done it because he wants to uphold the law, and the old laws used to say that. But then those laws got stricken down, so they don't matter anymore, but he's gonna make the old laws matter again, because he cares about laws.
Law. I am the law.
I shouldn't have ever started this. I knew what I was doing.
Anyways, the dog catcher of the town is his brother. And because the mayor is a corrupt politician, which is totally fictitious, imagine a corrupt politician.
God.
The mayor's brother is a cat lover. And he has a cat that can smell dogs from a mile away. It's a secret superpower of his cat. Because he's a cat fascist.
Well, he's got the little mustache. He's like a tuxedo cat with the little mustache right under the nose. Yeah.
So,
meows a lot really loudly. I don't know. Just long speeches of meows.
Meow,
angrily
meow, meow.
for some reason.
Meow, 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 meow. Meow. Yeah. And...
It's fucking weird ass.
The kid gets introduced. She gets introduced back to her new school because she moved to Maine and she has to go to school. And there's a German lady from Austin Powers there who screams everything.
Oh, and she's the head mistress of the school.
Frau. Yeah, whatever it is.
It's I always want to say Frau Blucher, but that's the joke from Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's Young Frankenstein, and that's a different actress.
Yeah, very different. Yes, she would be dead, I imagine.
Yes. But so she's there yelling German at these kids in English, but you know what I mean, like with a German accent.
Yeah.
And And as the girl leaves school for the day, she sees some dogs in front of some parked cars. And the dog catcher rolls up in his 3-wheeled motorcycle with like a sidecar.
Yeah.
With his brother, Crash McLarson from the Aquabats.
That was the reason why I actually recommended that we do this, because I looked at the cover and I'm like, holy shit, is that an Aquabats with a net trying to
I'm a little
catch
upset because that guy doesn't play a huge role in this movie.
No, he doesn't. He's the only human on the cover.
Yeah.
He was the only human on the cover, and he's in for, like, he doesn't have a single speaking line.
Like, the marketing folks knew that look was good.
Yes.
But the part in the movie is so small.
It's nothing, yeah.
It's nothing. So they show up and they grab one dog of the two that are there. Mm-hmm. And she ends up grabbing the other dog and hiding in a shed nearby.
Yeah.
And the dog catcher sniffs with his nose where the dog is.
Yep.
And the cat.
He uses the cat as a sniffer. Yeah.
And as she does she like kick him and run away? I don't remember.
Yep.
I think she
shoves him. She shoves him against the car.
She shoves him and very casually walks away with the dog.
Yes, the chase scenes in this are hilariously slow.
Yeah, and this lady pulls up, who's the local crazy dog lady. And one of the boys who the girl met earlier, who's just like some random kid, sees her with the dog, and she's like, he's like, hey, you have a dog now? Yeah, I found a dog. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom, this is a girl?
His dog out at the rail yard. It's a whole thing.
Something. Yeah, but she's like, hey, this, yeah, he's like, hey, this girl has a dog. We're gonna go to our house now. Is it okay? Yeah, all right. And then
we've got the dog underground railroad to save all the dogs from the evil dogless town. That sounds like a joke, but I think it's real. No, that is real. I also wanted to go back and mention something else that's real, because people might think it's a joke. We get sometimes people that go, well, what are you joking about? Yeah. We are not joking about that headmistress Bean from Austin Powers. She is in fact like
it's
Dr.
Evil
henchman. Yeah.
With the same accent.
And the same haircut and everything. Yeah. Like the Dr. Evil henchman woman that's like his like mistress in the movies. Yeah, that woman is an evil German headmistress in this. It's an interesting casting decision, I guess.
Yeah, so we find out this lady holds a dog orphanage right outside of city limits, where dogs are not illegal because they're only
like I said, it's literally the dog underground railroad.
And she hides them under tunnels and behind things like from the city. So the girl goes home after that, after establishing the dog orphanage / underground dog railroad. And she's talking to her aunt, Dolores, who finally tells her that, by the way, we're not related. I just really like giving your dad coffee.
Yeah, I serve him coffee all the time. There's lots of people that come by for my lattes.
Yeah. Oh boy.
It's very hot. Hot coffee.
And then I think that's the end of that day. Like, the story's kind of weird because it happens over like a week or two, maybe 3.
She serves up a lot of hot brown coffee. Anyway,
yeah. They made a thing about it in Grand Theft Auto about this 1930s real life example of hot coffee. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. There was a big flap about it. And what I mean is there was a lot of flappers in it because it's the 30s. So
it's the 30s. That makes sense.
Yeah. That was all.
You know what else was popular in the 30s? Depression. They loved Depression.
They loved it. It was great back then.
Yeah, it was great. Make Depression great again.
So, I was going to ask you, I don't remember which of the chase scenes it was, but I wanted to mention something that I was really happy and then depressed about, speaking of depression, which is, was this when she also met the Russian man in that first chase scene?
It was the next one, right after this.
Okay.
Because she leaves the next day and gets chased by the dog catcher again.
Yes.
And that's when some Russian bearded guy just bumps into her. He's like, get on.
get on, and he's just got a dog sled, and she goes, are you gonna let my dog get captured? And he goes, niet. Starts fucking up the dog catchers, because he's this cool Russian dude.
They have a bunch of cool huskies on an actual sled going through the forest. They did a stunt for that. That's a real shot. That is not green screen. That is not CG.
Again, the actual cinematography and shots of this are pretty well composed and done. Like, it's all really
I was
well
looking
done.
at the IMDb for this. They got stunt doubles to do the dog sledding during the scene where this Russian just rides her through the woods as the dog catchers chase after her in their motorcycle. And during that scene, the sled ran into a pipe that was hidden under snow, and it split the sled in half.
Woof.
Nobody was hurt, but holy shit.
Yeah, that's dangerous as shit.
Yeah. So there's this actual chase scene that they filmed, and it looks good.
It looked pretty good. Yeah, it's solid.
And eventually the Russian takes a side path and splits the dog catchers the other way. And they get away, and they go to his Russian dog ranch outside of the city limits where he houses dogs and hides them behind walls, and it's an underground dog railroad. Do you get it?
Yeah. Okay, so we're getting the World War II analogies real hard here. We've got Russia protecting people over here. Like, it's fucking wild. I can't believe that this is a real film. The story is so...
Yeah.
The disappointing thing about this Russian man, though, is that she gets told by her aunt that she needs to get a job to help pay for rent because she needs to pay for her way.
Her aunt in big quotes.
Yes, her aunt, who's not her aunt. She gets told by Dolores, who she's with, to go out and get a goddamn job because women can vote now, you see, so they're allowed to get jobs and stuff.
I think it was more like she has to pay for her boarding and food.
Yes, but she does say women can rent now. Like, she said women can vote now. Her wife says, well, women can't work. And she goes, no, women can even vote now. So she says that.
Oh, yeah, her lesbian wife. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. So she sends the girl out to go and get a job. And she's like, you can go and work with the dog catcher. And she goes, no, I'll find a job. And she walks down a dark back alley of this small town in Maine and sees the traditional 1930s activities of three small children standing around a burning trash can.
The only thing kids do in the 30s is stand around burning trash cans. That's who told her to go see the Russian guy, right? Because they told her to go back to the Russian guy afterwards.
Yes, because apparently they're bullies and they're tricking her, actually, because the Russian man is known as being mean to all the kids or something.
This movie is just like New York Ninja, where people just stand around burning garbage for fun.
Yes. Well, it's got Pittsburgh in it, so you know that there's a lot of burning garbage.
Wow, I can't believe you
specifically said that. That's what I said.
Pittsburgh so much. Wow.
That's me. So she goes to see the Russian man, and the Russian man, oh, those bullies set you up for this, huh? I ain't got no job for you. Niet, get out of here, and kicks her out. And I was so sad because I thought, okay, this Russian man's great. He'll feature prominently in the film. Anyway, that's the last that we ever see of Russian man. Yeah. That's literally the last scene he's ever in.
He shows up for a second later when they need to get dogs for the production, but that's about it, yeah.
Oh,
nothing important. Nothing important. It was like a montage. It doesn't count.
Like, what the fuck?
They didn't use this character.
No, they do this big introduction of this character. They set him up. They do all this stuff. Like, he's in the woods. Oh, the bullies send you out to him. All this stuff. And then they just fucking drop him. What is this book and screenplay?
It's real weird. So
it's terrible.
The boy earlier that saved her when she was getting chased by the dog catcher does meet back up with her again. Specifically because she cask of Amontillato'd her dog that she saved so that she could go to school for the day by bricking it up in a crate.
She literally bricks it up. It's a literal brick that she puts literal bricks on top of it to brick this dog in.
Yeah, and as the camera zooms in. The dog's like, "No, Montressor,
Please.
please,
For the love of God, Montresor.
And we have to have a scene where the boy tells her explicitly, "Look, you can't just
You
Cascavalotto
cannot
a dog to go to school."
Cascavalotto a dog. Yeah.
And she's like, "You're not my real dad. I'll do what I want. I'll cask whatever dog I want." She's our hero.
Yeah. So she goes to school, and everybody's talking about, like, oh, well, who first mentions it? I can't even remember. She's talking about, like, where she's from, and it might have been to him. She was like, oh, well, he's like, where are you even from anyways? And she's like, I'm from Pittsburgh. And he's like, well, that explains why you're such a garbage fucking person. You'd stick your dog in a goddamn cage, you fucking monster, fucking gross Pittsburgh loser, piece of shit.
She says Pittsburgh at school, and then everybody makes fun of her.
At one point,
when she talks to that
gets
boy,
introduced
she
to
says
school and
New
she
York,
lies.
though. Right? Yeah.
Oh, she does to that kid.
To that kid specifically, she lies to him. Yeah.
She also lies at school, because when they introduce her at school, I can't remember who tells her that Pittsburgh is such a shithole. A few people do. But because when she goes to school and they introduce her at school, they go like, oh, well, where are you from? Like, she just moved here. And she's like, where are you from? And they go, oh, I'm from New York City.
Yeah, because Pittsburgh sucks.
Because Pittsburgh's such a fucking shithole, and everyone hates it.
It's important that she tells him she's from New York, because she also says she owns 2 dogs and she's rich.
Yeah.
And
okay.
It's important because it breaks his trust of her.
It's important.
Later. Important. It doesn't matter.
No.
But,
well, also, it doesn't break the trust stuff.
We also find out that Dolores is sleeping with the dog catcher, which she calls having coffee. In innuendo form. And also that she occasionally gives him a haircut and a shave, if you know what I mean.
Yes, they have a lot of innuendos here that get increasingly uncomfortable.
Is this a sex thing?
Haircut and shave, or a haircut and shave?
Well, I mean...
do you want to up or down? Do you want to trim the drapes, if you know what I'm saying? I'm asking if you'll shave my balls!
Oh my god.
What is happening in this?
It was just like 2 minutes of sexual innuendo about haircuts.
Are we gonna get blow dryers involved? And it's like, literally? Or is this, what are they talking about?
Yeah, and she talks him down to a handy while she's watching something on the telly. Listening to a radio
the 1930s telly that she's got.
When was black and white television? Somewhere around
20 some years later.
Oh, it was somewhere. Anyway, radio. I don't know.
For the radio, yes. But anyways, the girl's upstairs with her dog, and then she sneaks out and goes to school. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, there's some order stuff happening here that doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the point is,
plot
after
is
this,
so nonsensical and useless.
The mayor starts pushing on his limit of no dogs in town by moving the city limit to include the dog orphanage railroad, underground railroad, so that
because he hates dogs so much,
so that they can get evicted and he can kill those damn dogs. I guess. Great.
Yep.
Great.
If you're wondering, wait, why does everyone in this town hate dogs so much that they would even elect a man on the sole single platform of I will murder every fucking dog I see on sight?
Because he's a captain.
That's a great question.
Yeah. Anyways, so... anyway...
Yeah?
So, the town's putting on well, not the town, the school. The school's putting on a Christmas production.
Can I interrupt for 1 second? I just want to say, so he moves the city sign to show the city limits is further out by sticking it in a snowbank past her property. And then she moves the city limits back by picking up the same sign and moving it back.
Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck bullshit.
Yes, like they're gonna saw through Florida.
Season, duck season, wabbit season, duck season, wabbit season. Yeah, they just keep pulling the sign.
That's the way laws work.
The 30s. It was a wild time.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, but the point is, they're putting on a production, so the whole movie is leading up to this production, and they lost their piano player because she was pregnant and she had contractions and went into birth at school during practice,
which we get to see.
For
it was
some
really
reason.
Interesting to see the head crowning and stuff. Like, I've never really seen a live birth like
you know
that.
What?
But, you know, they
Birth
really went for it. The lighting was perfect. The lighting is perfect. Like, the production of this company, like we said, they really go in for it. So,
yeah,
it's impressive.
And it's important because the football coach takes over the production, but he doesn't know anything about music. And
you can stop saying it's important and just say it's relevant, because none of this is important.
this hit a little close to home with my public schooling.
Oh, yeah.
Coach,
yeah.
Whatever. And so he can't do shit. He doesn't know anything about music. He doesn't know anything about production. But he finds out that the dog lady outside of town knows how to do piano. She knows how to play piano.
Yes.
So he goes to her place, and on the way, he stops and asks her for directions to her place because he knows about a crazy dog lady out of town who hides dogs from the illegal dog notice that they put up in town because dogs aren't allowed. And she's like, "Oh, you mean the crazy dog lady that everybody hates that I'm setting?"
And he's like, "Yeah, that one. She's really awful. I hate her so much."
Obvious setup of making sure you're a dick.
Yeah, and of course they're gonna end up as a couple too, in a way.
I guess.
Although it doesn't really go there. It kind of implies it, but I don't know. Anyway.
But she eventually shows up at the production practice to play piano.
To help this man.
And that's
reasons.
That's the only relevant part. That's the
yes.
only relevant part, right?
It's so they can somehow clash the dog movie that they have right now with the theater Christmas production movie that they're going to have in 45 minutes, because it hasn't started yet, but they will eventually get there.
So the girl's dog and the boy's dog both get taken by the dog catcher because they sabotaged the fence at the underground dog railroad.
Yes.
And they got out and got into school and made a thing.
Big scene.
They did a scene. So the dog catches them, and our resistance fighter girl goes to the dog catcher's barn and releases only her dog and steals it back.
Yes, she takes up her Aunt Dolores' offer of a job with the dog catcher man, specifically so she can go into the resistance and fight them from the inside, which then she lets out her own dog and fuck all these other dogs anyways.
So the boy chews her out, and I guess she goes back.
Well, to be fair, she did look for his dog. She looked for his dog, but she found a collar for the dog only. She found the dog,
implying the dog was murdered. Yes.
Implying the dog was fucking murdered. So she tells that to the boy, and the boy screams at her, crying, which actually was, like, really well acted from him. Like, he does a really good, like, 8-year-old boy fit, if that makes sense. And he's like, "You're just a dirty liar. You said you're from New York, and you're from that fucking shithole Pittsburgh.
That awful,
you're from
terrible
that
place.
You climbed out of the goddamn dumpster of Pittsburgh, you bitch. I can't believe you did this to me." And he's crying and screaming, and then she runs away. And then it hard cuts to commercial first. was what happened.
Fucking free BTV.
This is why it fucked you up. But you're saying, like, well, I don't know what the order of this is. The order of this is, he yells at her, the next scene is of her sneaking back in. It just happens instantly. She goes back that night.
Because she did let all the other dogs out at some point.
No.
Doesn't she? Or...
No. Never.
No.
Never. Literally never.
Because she goes back to... She finds out the dog catcher is using the dogs in a dog fighting ring, which were legal.
Yes. She goes...
And that's very bad, because they're legal.
This. Yeah.
Yeah. And she Indiana Jones into the center of the dog ring while the dogs are going at it. And she's like, "Hey, give me that dog. I'm stealing that dog." And she just
all the guys go, I guess.
Yeah, well, no, she kicks the guy in the shins and then takes the dog and runs off, and then everybody goes like, "Wow, that was weird." Anyways,
And
back
then
to
just let her
dog
go.
fighting for money.
back to what was our perfectly legal dog fighting ring, because dog fighting was only illegal since 1976 in all the states.
Huh. Yep. And so she runs off, and the dog catcher's like, "I'm gonna get that girl," because he does catch her coming back later when she tries to release the dogs, and he puts her in a cage at the dog catcher barn at some point to jail her.
Yeah,
that does happen.
Yeah,
the order's
somewhere in
weird.
there
Like
he
I said, the
does,
order's
yes.
weird.
He catches her again after this because she does something.
Yeah.
I think that you're right that she goes back to release more dogs. I think you're right about that.
And eventually Dolores comes and saves her, I guess. And she says she's never going to sleep with the dog catcher again. And the dog catcher has the most divorced dad energy.
I'm going to go buy Twitter, and he slams the door.
Yeah, he goes buys Twitter, and then...
But
it's
so
bad.
she tells everyone too about this very legal dog fighting ring that they have, and everyone
including
goes,
the mayor. Yeah.
"Well, but how can we trust you? You're a little liar who said that she was from New York when you're really from that goddamn awful shithole Pittsburgh. You awful, miserable, lying Pittsburgh pile of shit. We'll never believe anyone from that fucking shit town. You miserable little liar, you."
So they don't do anything about it, basically,
Which-
is what they get around to. Yeah.
I want to go for just a second that, like, all of these adults are like, "Well, but you did lie about your mom not being dead, and that means that we can't trust you about anything." And it's like, do you understand what, like, polite white lies are, people, at all? Like, do any of you...
They also don't know what
like-
childhood trauma is. No, I mean, we have to remember that these are cat fascists. Like,
Oh, right, yeah, they are.
it's
they are
important
the
to know
horrible
that they're
cat fascists.
fascists. Yeah. Anyways, so the production's not going well. And
Considering
they
where
decide-
things go, we maybe shouldn't call them cat fascists, because the end of the movie, we'll get to that, but go ahead.
Anyway, yeah, the whole thing is very political somehow. Anyways, the production's going badly, and they decide, instead of doing the 12 Days of Christmas, which they were going to originally do, they're going to make it the 12 Dogs of Christmas, because they have 51 dogs for the production that they find.
And then they can make it so that if they have 51 dogs and the mayor agrees, that he'll make dogs legal again. I guess.
If they have 51 dogs on stage, it'll be legal. So they start doing the math, and they pull out an abacus and a calculator and some pens and papers, and they start moving the little dots of the abacus. So, like, if we have 51 dogs, and they're moving at 25 miles per hour left...
we're not
west,
joking about the
and
abacus
30 miles per
dog
hour
scene.
right, and we have 500 pounds of food, but it needs to last this many days for 51 dogs, and at the end of that, it's going to be Christmas, which we have to give them a Christmas treat, so that's going to add an extra 10 pounds of treats on for the 51 dogs, and then we calculate how many houses are in town, like 840 houses. They eat at 6 p.m. on a Thursday, so if we calculate that in, half the houses will probably have scraps, so 420. Nice.
That's 51. We need 51 dogs, and that'll make it legal. So they show up to like a Christmas party. They show up to a Christmas party with the mayor, and gift him an illegal dog. They
give him the equivalent of a box of weed.
Yes. And he goes, "Well, execute that puppy." Except he doesn't, because what?
Because
wasn't his platform, "I will kill every dog in town," and everyone loved him for it?
His platform was, "We're going to be hard on crime," and then he gets gifted crime, and he doesn't want to look bad like he's hard on crime. I guess
There's literally no reason for him not to
doesn't make
just
any
be
fucking
like,
sense.
"Okay, well, this dog's illegal," and throw it away, because that's his whole thing.
He decides to go to the production because he wants to appear like a good politician or something.
But even though the dogs are illegal and the kids aren't allowed to have them, and he's made no promises that he will make them legal just because they're putting on this production.
Yeah. Anyways, we get the worst part of the movie is the important part. Like, that's the relevant part of this, is that it's 20 minutes of kids singing the 12 Dogs of Christmas in real time.
They just do the whole production, the whole fucking thing, start to finish. They sing whole goddamn song. It's not a movie
anymore.
No.
It's just a child production of this song.
And it's really well produced and shot as what would be a child's 1930s dog production. It's great.
And by that I mean it sucks so much.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's unbearable. And they bring out, and the kid's dog had puppies, and they wouldn't have had enough puppies for the one line of the song if it didn't have puppies literally the night before they're doing this production.
It's weird that it had exactly the amount of puppies, and that they didn't have, like, 2 extras, and they had to, like, quietly off stage,
just, throw those ones to the dog fighting ring. But
we only had 6 puppies. What a coincidence.
I do want to say, so we've talked about how good all of the sets and the lighting and stuff is for this movie. Like, it's really, really good. Way better than this film deserves. By miles and miles and miles. There is an exception.
This fucking production.
They found all of these dogs. They have all these dogs. They have chihuahuas for different parts of it, like basset hounds and beagles and sheepdogs and all these kinds of purebred dogs for this huge production for the kids and stuff, where they're all the same dog for each line of it. Like, they gave me 9 German Shepherds and 8 whatevers, right? Like 8 beagles and all this, and they do all these kinds of things, and they've full of dogs. They've got all these old vintage cars, all this stuff. The puppies that the dog has, they've got like carpet. It's very obviously like balled up
just carpet rolled up in a basket. Yeah, it's super bad looking.
It's really, 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 really
especially
bad.
Especially like considering the amount of quality to like the attention to detail in this movie
of everything else,
is so high that this sticks out like a sore thumb.
So bad. They couldn't find puppies? They couldn't find puppies? Like six puppies? Or just like not do that? Like, why not just leave that out? Because it didn't matter?
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Anyways, they do the production. In the background, the dog catcher is letting out the 12 dogs at the end so that their whole production is ruined. Which, as we all know, if a childhood musical production for a school doesn't go exactly perfect, that means that we'll have to kill
all
every
dogs
dog
are
in
illegal,
town.
and we'll just have to kill them all. Yeah, we'll have to murder all of the dogs they bring into the production.
That's on you, little Timmy. You shouldn't have fucked up your line.
If you hadn't fucked up your line, little Timmy, then I guess that your dog would be alive today. Spot would still be playing with you. We don't make the rules.
This is how you learn your lesson, kid.
This is the law.
Fucking what?
I love that they have him go up and release, so the dog catcher guy goes up and releases all of the dogs that they have for the 12th day. And you'd think that, okay, we get a blessed reprieve from the production, because the production is still going on, all this is happening. No, they pipe the music in over it because he's backstage, so they just keep everything going. It's still in real time.
And we also see every single attempt where they're like, the 12th day of Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And they keep waiting. They do it like 3 or 4 times in real time. Mm-hmm. God, it sucks.
So, anyway, finally the little girl sees the dog catcher and he goes, on the 12th day of Christmas they brought no doggies. So she kicks him in the dick and steals his cat.
Dick kick and steal the cat. And then she walks out with his cat. She's like, a cat on the 12th day.
For the 12th. Which, and everybody laughs.
As we all know, is how that production is supposed to end. And she did the correct thing, which saved all the dogs in town.
Now the mayor's heart fulfilled the contract. Yeah. Well, it's the law to change.
Now the law has to change. I remember this. This is from a bill on Capitol Hill. This is exactly what happens in the song.
Yeah, the laws are really, really weird in the 1830s. They say specifically all dogs are illegal unless all of the children of town come together and put on a special production with exactly 51 dogs and 1 cat for the 12 days of Christmas. And then we can make dogs legal again, but only if at the same time we then kill the cat and all other cats thereafter.
Well, no, that's not revealed yet. That comes right afterwards. So for some reason the movie ends with dogs are legal now, but now cats need to be oppressed. What did we learn? What was the lesson? All right, we won't oppress dogs. Let's just do the same thing to cats now. And they just move down the line to the next animal on the list. It's almost like one minority gets free of persecution only for another. Wait a minute.
It's
fucking Christ. This shit
it's
sucks.
It's so dumb and it's so bad. I guess we need to also address the dog
we need to talk
fighting
about the
ring
dog
thing.
catcher, the ringer.
Yeah.
Because so the dog
His
catcher
ultimate
runs
fate.
back behind stage after closing the curtains to get his cat back. And then as he gets his cat and turns around, he sees all the dogs on set. And then he gets viciously mauled by exactly 51 dogs.
As everyone in the crowd.
As everybody claps and laughs about him getting mauled and bit and scratched.
Yes, because you can see
and
his legs out
eviscerated.
from underneath the curtain, and he's screaming, and blood's leaking out, and all of the crowd.
Pain.
Yeah, all of the crowd is like clapping and laughing, which.
Yep. Okay, and then
to
some
me,
money falls out of his...
if the dogs are mauling somebody, that's like the first time that we've seen throughout this entire movie where there is a legitimate reason why you would have dogs outlawed, because they're hurting somebody.
No, because well, you're avoiding the fact that money fell out of his pocket, so it was justified.
Yes,
because he had money, which he could only get through illegal dog rings. Like
yeah,
dog
that
fighting
proves he drops money, and because he dropped the money, they go, oh, for shame, he was operating an illegal dog
Which
ring.
was legal. It wasn't an illegal dog ring. It was a legal dog ring.
Yep.
And because of that, now cats need to be banned.
But
what?
also, what does a cat? What is a wad of money? Like, he has money.
Also, yeah, money doesn't mean
Why does
he
he
was
have...
doing. I mean, he was, but
He was,
also,
but
that's
it's
the dumbest way.
Yeah. It's. I mean, you might be dealing drugs or something, but it's like, oh, okay, well, you're wearing flannel, so I know you were dealing weed, and it's like, wait, but I am
like
dealing weed, but that has nothing to do with it. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's just
Is this a racism thing? Like, what
Yeah,
does this mean? I don't.
Anybody with money must be
he
operating a
profiling
dog
him?
ring.
Like, what the fuck?
It's the weirdest fucking nonsense change for like how they solve the dog fighting ring plot. They just
I guess that 80 yard too. It's 80 yard from a guy as they're panning the camera.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he had money in his pocket. He must have been doing illegal thing. And it's like a drive-by 80 yard.
Yeah,
it's so bad.
It's a really, really terrible plot point and a horrible way to resolve it.
But that's the 12 Dogs of Christmas. We did watch the credits, by the way. One by watch, I mean I muted it and then skipped ahead because I'm not going to listen to that fucking Christmas music again at the end they put there, which was sort of Christmas blues, jazz, rap thing.
It's specifically, we laughed because the captions came up with mid-tempo rhythm and blues.
Yeah,
is what the closed captioning said.
But it was kind of like a rap beat. It was weird
at first, yeah, and then it was bad.
But at the end of the credits, it says no animals were harmed in the making of this film, only producers. And I would also say the audience for having to sit through that
every
fucking
audience
production.
member was also harmed.
And thankfully,
I feel like our ending songs
so.
were much better. Our ending rap was perfect for this.
Our ending rap was far better than what they had. Yeah, no.
We can drop some rhymes while we're doing crimes in the dog town.
Yeah, dog crimes. The only thing this movie was missing to be an official Rough Cuts movie, because it did have Single Dad, it had Move, it had New School, it had dog catchers, it had Goofy, villains that break into things. It had
her dad shows up at the Christmas pageant too.
Oh, he's there too, I guess.
Yeah,
Who fucking cares? There's no point to it anyway.
She's not even sad that she's away from her dad at any point. She
None
doesn't
of it
give a shit
matters
about it.
But the only thing it was missing was fake dog paws.
Yeah, it didn't have fake dog paw.
Yeah, that would have done it.
Those dogs did look like they were getting treats all the time. Like you said, every single time. And same with the cat. It looked like there was like somebody with a treat just out of reach.
All the dogs in this movie were so happy, and they were getting so many scritches and pets. And every single time they were on screen, that there was somebody off screen, like holding up a treat for them, or like a piece of bacon or something. Like, oh, that dog's getting a treat. That dog's getting a treat. Look at that.
10 out of 10. Perfect film.
I don't know any of the dogs' names. Oh no, actually, what was one of the shaggy dog was called Yetta?
Yetta.
Which is an abominable snowman, apparently.
Yeah, it was Yetta.
I guess.
That was the only dog that I know the name of. I don't think she even named her dog.
The dog lady named her dog M. I think.
Right.
Because her name is Emma. Yeah.
And so then they called the dog M. They only mentioned that once.
And then they never call the dog M again in the whole film.
And she never seems
she
like
never
she cares about that dog.
Or
she's hardly ever in scenes with her dog.
If she is, she's like holding him, but they're not doing anything together.
Like doing like a chase scene or something. Like she's never playing with the dog. She's never there's never a moment of her like.
Yeah.
There's no bonding stuff at all. Like, there's nothing of her, like, being... This film really desperately needs, and, like, story needs her to be, like, sad about her dad and mom dying. And then be, like, rescued emotionally by this dog, right? And that's her bonding moment. And that's why she cares about the dog. But they don't do any of that. Like, not even a little bit. Not for a half second.
I got my abacus out, and I'm doing a little bit of math. I think the dogs in this movie are really more about quantity than quality of dog.
Yes. I'm pulling my socks off so I can count with you.
Yeah, this is a 12 Dogs of Christmas, and the 12 is the important part, which is 12 factorial. 12, 11, 10, 9, multiply it. So if you carry the 2...
and the 3
multiply
is divided
it's not
by...
algebra, it's like there's math going on right now.
I'm gonna rate this 51 out of 10.
51 out of 10 I think is right, yeah, because there were 51 dogs. So that sounds right. And as we all know, 51 is a very Christmassy number.
God, what does this have to do with
What does this movie have to do with Christmas? There's nothing.
It didn't have anything to do with Christmas or dog. Like, basically every plot point just gets immediately dropped in so many ways, and anything that isn't dropped is fucking stupid.
I don't feel like this is a bait and switch. I think it's just bad writing.
No, it's just terrible. It's just terrible writing. Yeah. This is one of... It's funny, the dichotomy of this movie with, like, how incredibly, like, stunningly well done the shots and production and sets and stuff are. Like, it is really hard to explain how well done that is, because it's really, really, really good. Like, absolutely movie theater quality for most of that. And then the writing is worse than any Touched by an Angel episode I've seen.
Yes.
And it has that feeling to it. It feels like a Touched by an Angel episode, but like a knockoff one. Like seen by a cherub. I don't know.
Did you know that you could just publish whatever? It doesn't need to be good. You can just publish anything.
It's so bad though.
Yeah.
Like it is stunningly bad. It is...
To be fair,
maybe the worst written film that I've ever seen.
We saw a movie labeled 12 Dogs of Christmas, opened it up, looked inside, be like, I don't know.
It had 12
I don't know what I fucking expected. 12 Dogs of Christmas, you know.
It had 12 dogs and it had Christmas. What more could we want? What did I expect?
Yeah, I don't... Anyway, that's it for this episode.
That's Rough Cuts for this week. Merry Christmas, everybody. We still have 2 more weeks of this.
Great. Anyway, you can check us out online at Co-Host. We have a Rough Cuts page there.
Mm-hmm.
You can also check us out on TikTok at Rough Cuts Cast. We also have a Twitter, technically,
for as long as that's alive.
roughcutscast@gmail.com if you want to contact us, as well as your local dog orphanage / underground dog railroad at Rough Cuts Cast.
No cats allowed.
No cats allowed. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'm getting in the spirit of the holiday season. You know, I think I'm gonna have myself my own catfish Christmas.
We're not doing that. I'm editing around this. You can't. I know you want to do an outro, but I'm not doing that one. Good night. Holy shit, this kid's been chasing this dog for a ways.
From the rail yard to the suburbs?
Mm-hmm.
How many miles? How many kilometers?
Well, in 1931, that actually might not have been that far, but...
Yeah, 1931 kilometers didn't... Like, they weren't as much.
Yeah,
right?
no,
The inflation
yeah.
rate.
The inflation rate on miles and kilometers has been real bad for the last few years. Distances are fucked up now.
Well, this isn't just about the dogs.
For me, it is only about the dogs.